みなさん、こんにちは. Welcome back to NihonGoal, where we study together and go through a complete Japanese course for free. This is part 2 of Minna No Nihongo Intermediate Lesson 9. Before we begin, make sure to check out part 1 of this lesson. In this video, we will learn about the following grammar points. はい、準備できたら始めましょう. Our fourth grammar point is 何々ほど何々ない or 何々ほどではない. This is used to make a comparison between two nouns. In the pattern A は B ほど X ではない means that both A and B are X or adjective, but B is more than A or A is less than B. Basically, B is better. So to say it simply, it means that A is not as adjective as B, or noun 1 is not as adjective as noun 2. This pattern can be used with nouns or verbs. Verbs should be in plain form. So whatever is better or whatever is B, so it can be a noun or a verb. So we add hodo. So be hodo plus the adjective. For e adjectives, we remove e and we change it to ku. So it becomes e adjective kunai. And for na adjectives, we say na adjective dewa nai. So we have second pattern. So we have the be or the better one. It can be a noun or a verb plus hodo. Then we don't need adjective. We just say hodo dewa nai. So let's take a look at some examples on how to apply or use this pattern. For our first example, we are going to use the pattern A は B ほど X ではない. A and B are both nouns, while X is an adjective. So this indicates that A and B are both X, but A is less than B. For example, Batman movies are good but not as interesting as the last one. We are comparing the old Batman movies with the latest one or the recent one. And we want to say that they're both good, but it's not as interesting as the last one. So B, which is the last one, is more interesting or is better. We say, バットマンの映画はいいんですが、Batman movies were good, but 最新 means the last one or the newest one, and then followed by ほど. 最新ほど, and then our adjective, which is interesting, and we want to say not as interesting. Interesting is 面白い. We remove e, and then we change it to 面白く and then ない. Not as interesting as the latest one. バットマンの映画はいいんですが、最新のほど面白くない. Another example. Is Mr. Lee strict? Yes, but not as strict as Mr. Ao. We have two nouns, Mr. Lee and Mr. Ao. And we are describing them as both strict person. But Mr. Ao is more strict than Mr. Lee. So we say, リー先生は厳しいですか? Is Mr. Lee strict? Yes. でも, but our noun is Mr. Ao. Ao 先生ほど, our adjective is strict. 厳しい. So we change this to 厳しくない or 厳しくないですよ. But he's not as strict as Mr. Ao. でも Ao 先生ほど厳しくないですよ. Next example. I think money is important, but it's not as important as family. So we are saying that money and family are both important, but family is more important. So we say, お金が大切だと思います. でも、 家族 family ほど then our adjective is important, which is an adjective. 大切 and it is followed by ではない。お金が大切だと思います。でも家族ほど大切ではない。Next, the plain form of the verb can also be used for be. So up to now, we've only used nouns, right? But we can also use verbs, but in their plain form. For example, did the negotiation go well? No, it wasn't as easy as I thought. So here, I thought is our be. So we say, 交渉は negotiation うまくいきましたか? Did it go well? 交渉はうまくいきましたか? いいえ No. I thought is 考えていた 考えていた So it's in past form because you already thought about it. 考えていたほど our adjective is easy. 簡単 plus じゃなかったです So instead of ではない we can also use じゃない or in this case it's in past tense じゃなかったですいいえ考えていたほど簡単じゃなかったです Another example This restaurant is said to be popular but the food was not as good as I thought it would be Again, I thought it would be is our be, which is a verb. We say, このレストランは人気があるそうだが、料理は the food is 思った So I thought 思いました思ったほど good or delicious is おいしい We change this to おいしくない or in this case in past tense おいしくなかったこのレストランは人気があるそうだが料理は思ったほどおいしくなかった Now, in A は B ほど X ではない pattern, the X or the adjective can be omitted, which is used to express that the degree is not that high or not to a certain degree. For example, Disneyland is crowded even on weekdays, right? Yes, but not as much as during the holidays. Here, they're saying that Disneyland is always crowded, regardless if it is a weekday or a weekend or a holiday. But here, the speaker is saying that weekdays are crowded, but not to the same degree as during the holidays. So we say, ディズニーランドは平日でも混んでいますね。でも、our noun or our be is the holidays, which is 休日 So we add ほどではない。でも休日ほどではない。Again, we don't have an adjective here, but based from the sentence, it is already implied because in the previous sentence, it says 平日でも混んでいますね. So they're talking about how crowded Disneyland is. So in the second sentence, we don't need an adjective because it's already implied. でも休日ほどではない. Another example, it got a little cold in December, but it's not that cold that you have to wear a coat yet. Here we have a be, to wear a coat yet. So we say, 10月に入って少し寒くなったが Once October came, it became cold. But まだコートを着る Here we have a verb, 着る We use the plain form of the verb. まだコートを着ます becomes まだコートを着る plus ほどではない Again, even though we don't have an adjective, it is already implied based from the previous sentence. So, 寒くなったが. So, instead of saying ほど寒くない, we can just say, まだコートを着るほどではない. It's not enough or it's not cold that you have to wear a coat yet. Our next grammar point is 何々ため何々 or 何々ためだ. This pattern is used to express reason or cause for something, followed by the result. This expression is used in writing and is more formal compared to 何々から or 何々ので. So this pattern means because of 何々 or reason, this is the result or this is what happened. How do we use this pattern? So we have two ways. First is when we state the reason or cause first, followed by the result. In this case, we say X or reason tame, and then Y or the result. The second pattern is if we want to say the result first, followed by the reason. In this case, the result is in plain form, followed by no. So Y, which is the result, no wa, followed by X or the reason, which is in nani nani tameda. So the reason can be a sentence, an e-adjective, a na-adjective, or a noun. For sentences, it should be in plain form. If it comes first, if the reason comes first, it should be in plain form plus tame, or sometimes we can put ni. In formal speech or writing, we can omit ni. Or usually, I don't really hear ni. We can just say the reason, tame, followed by the result. For e-adjectives, we just add tame after the e-adjective. For na-adjectives, we have to put na, tame. So, na-adjective, na, tame. And for nouns, we have to add no, no tame. For our first example, we are going to use the pattern reason first, followed by the result. So, tame ni, and then the result. For example, he was unable to enter the country because he did not get a visa. Our reason is because he did not get a visa is ビザを取っておかなかった. Again, we use the sentence in plain form. In normal form or in polite form, we say ビザを取っておきませんでした. But in plain form, it's おかなかった, followed by ため or ために. We can remove ni actually. We can just say ため, followed by the result. He was unable to enter the country. 彼は入国 to enter the country できなかった。ビザを取っておかなかったため、彼は入国できなかった。Another example, Japan imports many raw materials due to its scarce resources. The reason is due to its scarce resources, and the result is Japan now imports many raw materials. We say, 日本は資源 is natural resources が少ない。少ない meaning not much. Followed by ため。日本は資源が少ないため or ために多くの原料を輸入している。日本は資源が少ないため多くの原料を輸入している。Next is the other pattern where we state the result first, followed by the reason. So, 何々のは何々ためだ. For example, the reason I don't want children is because it's hard to raise them. First, we say the result. I don't want children. 子供が欲しくないのは子供を育てることが難しいためだ。If you remember from the previous lesson, we use からだ because. but this is more formal than から。子供が欲しくないのは子供を育てることが難しいためだ。Another example, the reason why the Earth's environment is getting worse and worse is because the number of cars has increased and the trees have been cut, among other reasons. We say, 地球の環境がどんどん悪くなっているのは then a reason 自動車が増えたり the number of cars is increasing and also 木を切ってしまったりした the trees have been cut ダメだ自動車が増えたり木を切ってしまったりしたためだ地球の環境がどんどん悪くなっているのは自動車が増えたり木を切ってしまったりしたためだ。And our last grammar point is 何々たら or ば何々だ。This expression is used when hypothesizing what could have happened when an event that didn't happen actually occurred. We can use both 何々たら form or 何々ば form when we want to make hypothetical statements or situations. So basically, this pattern means that if only something happened or this thing happened, then this is what would have happened. How do we use this pattern? Again, we can use either the 何々たら, the verb in 何々たら form or 何々ば form. Both are okay in making hypothetical statements, followed by whatever is supposed to happen. Of course, it should be in past form. So again, verb tara, 何々, and then the sentence should be in past form. Or verb ba, followed by the sentence, again in past form. So let's take a look at some example sentences on how to use this pattern. For example, if only I bought Bitcoin 10 years ago, I would have been rich. But I didn't. We say, 10年前ビットコインを買っていたら If I just bought Bitcoin 10 years ago, お金持ちになっていた We can add のに meaning I would have. 10年前ビットコインを買っていたらお金持ちになっていたのに Another example, I could have bought the house if only I had had the money. But I wasn't able to. お金があればその家を買えたのに。お金があればその家を買えたのに。Again, the second sentence should be in past tense. Next example, if only my parents were alive, they would have been glad with the birth of their grandson. 両親が生きていたら、孫の誕生をとても喜んだだろう。のに can be also replaced by だろう。Same meaning, would have. 両親が生きていたら、孫の誕生をとても喜んだだろう。And our last example, A and B are talking. Maiku, why didn't you play in the game? I got injured. Is that so? For sure, we could have won if only you were there. A says, マイクさん、どうして試合に出なかったんですか？ちょっと怪我をして。そうですか。If only you were there is マイクさんが出ていたら if only you were there きっと勝ったのに For sure we could have won そうですか。マイクさんが出ていたらきっと勝ったのに Okay, it's time for you to try. 今年は思っていたことと違っていたことがありますか？あったら話してください。Has this year been different from what you expected? If so, please tell us about it. Try to use 何々思ったほど何々ない pattern. I look forward to seeing your answers in the comment section below. はい、お疲れ様でした。今日のレッスンはどうでしたか？もし役に立ったら、LIKE ボタンを押してください。そしてコメントとか質問があれば、ぜひ下に書いてくださいね。I hope you learned something today. Make sure to subscribe and don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the future lessons. And if you want to support this channel even more, please consider becoming my Patreon through my Patreon page where you can get the lesson PDF and other study materials. And to all my Patreons, 本当にありがとうございました。Thank you so much for your continued support. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I will see you in the next one. またね! Thank you so much to our elite scholars, Cornelius, Constantine, and Kaylee. And to our study buddies, Paul, Taras, Jimmy, Stephanie, DM, and to all our NihonGoal students, 本当にありがとうございます。